Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, the podcast where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments on it. I am your host, Preston Proctor. Happy Bastille Day. Yeah, big day. Taking a break from watching the Tour de France to come in here and give you guys an update. Seems a lot of the things seems to have kind of calmed down a little bit in the NHL. As I say that, I just took nothing much had happened in the trade since July 2nd, but it looks like there was a trade yesterday between Buffalo and Washington. So maybe getting ready to heat back up. Maybe not. Free agency opened on the 1st, and there was a lot of action. A lot of action right around the draft, too. The last podcast with you guys was back, or with anybody really, was back just before the draft, the day of the draft, the day of the first round of the draft, I guess. So goal here today is kind of talk a little bit about what has happened between then and now. And go from there. Preds did have a development camp at the end of June, went from the 28th to July 3rd here in Nashville. I did not get a chance to go to any of that. I had family in town and some family commitments. So I didn't get to go to any of that, which a little disappointing, but that's how it goes. We are running back to running an Airbnb here in the Proctor household. I just found out we've got friends coming in this weekend. I had this last weekend off from visitors because Prudence was out of town. Now people don't come to visit when it's just me here. No, people don't visit when it's just me here. If nobody's here, that's fine. We've had people show up when we weren't here, and but the last this weekend will be the fifth weekend or the fourth weekend out of 5 where we have guests. The odd weekend we didn't have guests. Prudence out of town. So we've even had guests from different that weren't related to each other, didn't know each other, and show up at the same time. Anyway, friends of ours have one of their kids is moving to Nashville. Yeah, hopefully become another Predators fan. That'll be fun, and we'll go from there. But anyway, yeah, so quick little update on where the Preds are. And I think I've figured out how to make this make sense, but we're not sure. I'm so used to my other format where I have to take breaks all the time. And I was getting ready to take a break. But here on the Hockey Podcast Network, brought to you by DraftKings. We don't have to take as many breaks. And so there you go. I think one somewhere in the middle, and then I'll do a DraftKings promo, and that's it. It's still getting used to this format. So if I sound like I'm confused, I am. I know this, a little bit of data. I mean, this podcast, normally we talk about data. The new season with 84 games, I'm going to have to get my spreadsheet updated. I have to remember to do that. And my spreadsheet built based on an 82-game season. Generally not that big of a deal, but I do have a lot of named areas that are 82 cells long, and so it's either rebuild it, which I want to do anyway because it's getting a little – I think I can make it make more sense. But yeah, 84 games this year, which means that during the preseason, there's only going to be 4 There's only going to be 4 preseason games. They'll be in September. Training camp starts on the 16th. There is a rookie camp starting on the 11th. I think it's just like one day, and then they go to then there's a rookie tournament in Raleigh on the 13th and 14th of September. And then the 16th, the full training camp begins. The teams that the Preds will be playing are the Lightning and Carolina. I think last year, it was Carolina, Florida, and Tampa Bay. But since there are only 4 games, there's only 2 teams. So they'll play at Tampa Bay on the 20th. Then Tampa Bay will come here to Nashville on the 22nd. On the 24th, the Preds will head to Raleigh to play Carolina, and then on the 26th, Carolina will be here. So that's kind of the upcoming schedule for things that I know. Yeah, the Preds have made a few changes in the front office. I think with what was it? Was it? I think David Poole. I don't think I pronounced his name correctly. I think with him leaving and him being kind of one of the guys that deals with contracts and that kind of stuff, they brought in Vuki Mapufu. I know I can't get that right. So they brought him in, which that's great. I guess he was with Pittsburgh. And before that, he was with my favorite guy, Rob Blake, at the Kings. So, I have to cut him a little bit of slack. He wasn't responsible for the Kings being the team that they were. He's just responsible for the contracts that Rob Flake. Yes, Rob Flake with an F. Maybe, those of you new to the podcast, I used to live in Los Angeles. My wife and I are still at this point kind of primarily Kings fans, although with Kopitar leaving and, Dustin Brown having gone, and Jonathan Quick, the greatest goaltender of all time, now retired after playing with the Rangers for a while. Probably, allegiance. I mean, we're big Preds fans too, but I have to say I've got more Kings gear, I think. So pull for the Kraken a little bit. We used to live in Seattle, but we moved here before the Kraken became a team. They had announced that they were going to have a team, and I remember I almost bought season tickets. Could not stand the thought of going downtown for any number of games. I know the stadium is supposed to be amazing, but where it's at, it's just a pain in the butt to get to. I'm sure, I hope they figured out how to work the traffic down there, but I'm not convinced given that it is Seattle. But anyway, so he's there, and then we've got Springings. Yes, I think I got that right. Dawson Springings, assistant general manager, and I think he also. Yes, he was at the Avalanche. He was with the Avalanche with McFarland, so I feel better about that. Director of Analytics and lead data scientist. Wow. Anyway, so that's a couple of new people in the staff for the Preds, and so let's move on. Let's talk a little bit now that I've spent so much time talking about how I don't have to take a break. I guess you probably wish I'd taken a break. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the players. So they did have the draft, and leading up to the draft were a couple of trades. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit about the trades that the Preds were involved in, because I think that makes a little bit better sense, because some of it was during the draft, and so draft picks were exchanged. The Preds came in. I got this somewhere. The Preds came in, I think, with 11 before all the trading started, had 11 draft picks to deal with, and made some trades, made some trades. And so starting off, I had mentioned the two trades before the draft. I'm not going to talk about those, but back on the 26th of June, they did make a trade with Carolina to get the 31st pick of the draft. So the Preds wound up having 2 draft picks in the first round. To get that, they did give up 2 second-round picks for 2026. One was Nashville's and one was Minnesota. So that left them without any draft picks in the second round. With that 31st pick, they did take defenseman Thomas Blyle, who I think is still going to be in college for a couple of years. That's a funny thing about the draft, NHL draft, is sometimes, like the guy that got taken first last year, I don't know, surprise for me, but put up great numbers this last season. So normally people taken in the NHL draft don't contribute for a few years because generally they're like 18 years old. The 31st pick, Thomas Blyle, I think he's going to Minnesota. He's going to play in college or at least another year or two, and then we'll see what happens. But so we did get another pick, and then on the 27th, the Preds traded for left wing Adam Edstrom from the Rangers, trading center Massimo Rizzo, who spent most of his time with the Milwaukee Admirals, and then also a 5th round 2026 pick. That pick was Edmonton's pick. And so, Edstrom did play for the Rangers. He only played 35 games last year. Kind of what we're going to see here is a consistent theme of the Preds picking up guys who were injured last year. I think 4 of the players that they acquired in these trades I'm going to talk about, they acquired 4 players. 3 of them had significant injuries last year, and then a couple of guys that they signed, free agents, were injured last year too. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. They did not get the players that I would have preferred. I'll kind of wrap that up too. But if you remember the last podcast, I was comparing it to Carolina. Carolina has 7 players that were 20-plus goal scorers last season. The Preds have 3. The Preds had 3. I think the Preds had a 42 and a 40 goal scorer, and Carolina's, I think the top in Carolina was 35, but they had 7 over 20, and the Preds had 3. And so they have not rectified that situation. I think I did hear that the Rangers picked up 2 guys who were 30-plus goal scorers. And so the Preds still have an opportunity to pick up a proven goal scorer, but they didn't really. They picked up one. So, Edstrom on injured reserve last year. He is in the last year of a 2-year contract, $975K. He'll be a restricted free agent at the end of next season. He is 25, but in 35 games, he had 3 goals and 2 assists. So, not a goal scorer. As I say, I think the Preds have plenty of players who are what's the term? Contributors. So on the 27th, also on the 27th, they swapped 5th round picks with Pittsburgh. They gave Pittsburgh the 2026 pick from Carolina and got the 2028 5th round pick from Pittsburgh. So, taking this year's picks and moving them forward. I mean, how many players are you really going to take in one draft? So using your picks in order to make trades a little bit better. And I guess in this case, they said, well, if Pittsburgh wanted another pick and the Preds can move it out to the future and deal with it then. plenty of picks to deal with. So that probably a decent move. On the 29th of June, they did get left wing Nils Hoglander from the Vancouver diving team. They gave up a third rounder, 2029, from Colorado's pick. Hoglander also on the injured reserve last season. He only played 38 games. He's 25. What I was reading, the Vancouver fans were happy to have him gone. Happy to have his contract gone. Would have just been glad just to have him gone, but getting a pick they thought made it even better. So they're happy for him to be gone. He got traded he got traded to Nashville, and he's still on injured reserve, recovering from a lower body injury. Like I said, he only played 38 games last year. So I don't know how extensive his injury is if he's still listed as being injured. But he's 25, so maybe a lot of upside. This will be the second of a 3-year contract. He's making $3 million, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2028. Moving on, the trade with Dallas, two players on July 1st. Center Maverick Bourque. I kept meaning to look to see if he was Raymond Bourque's relative. Probably, but who knows? A lot of Bourques. And defenseman Ilya Lyubushkin. And so for that, we gave Dallas a second-round 2027 pick, our pick, the Nashville pick, and a third-round 2028 pick from Vegas. Bourque did play all the games for Dallas last year, 82 games. He wasn't injured. Bourque will be a restricted free agent, or was a restricted free agent, and they did sign him, so we'll get to the signings later. But yeah, he was a restricted free agent for Dallas, and Dallas traded him. Lyubushkin, defenseman, he is supposed to be a kind of a shutdown defenseman, which is what I think the Predators needed, and we'll see how that works out. He was on injured reserve last year. He only played 53 games with the Vegas Knights, and he will be in the last year of his 3-year, $3.25 million contract and an unrestricted free agent at the end of next season. He's 32. So a lot of talk about the Preds trying to make the team younger. Edstrom's 25, Hoglander's 25, Bourque, I didn't note his age. I think I've got it down lower. But a little bit younger, which is good. 32 is not bad. I mean, you know. And so those were the trades that the Preds made. And then during the draft, like I said, they had 2 picks in the first round. They had also 2 picks in the fourth round, and then 1 pick in the 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And with their first pick, I think it was the 10th pick, they did get left wing Wyatt Cullen. That was Nashville's pick, and then with the Carolina pick that they got with the defenseman Thomas Blyle. Then in the 3rd round, they got a goaltender, Dmitry Borichev, and then defenseman Jakub Flores in the 4th round, along with left wing Justin Graf. The 5th round, left wing Philip Hemmer, and then 6th round defenseman Benjamin Cossette-Ayotte, and then in the 7th round center Charlie Puglisi. I think I saw something where Blyle and Puglisi know each other, play together. I don't know. I started doing a little bit of research on the draft picks and realized it seemed like it was going to be a lot of work, and I wasn't sure I was going to get anything out of it. So there you go. Maybe. Maybe if I had some quantum energy squares when I was doing this, I would have been just fine. That's right. Quantum energy squares, quantumsquares.com. Preds Pro gets you 25% off. Caffeine times protein is energy squared. 100 milligrams of caffeine, 10 grams of protein, no junk. Looks like they are sold out of the dark chocolate Himalayan salt. It's just so you can add it to cart. But how, if they're sold out, how are they going to add that to the cart? I like to get the variety pack, and if they're sold out, I went back because I get the 12. I just get the variety 12 pack, which is they don't have a price. Oh, there it is. $28, $27.95, $28, but you get 25% off. Free shipping at $35 and up. With the dark chocolate Himalayan salt being out, what you will get, normally the 12 pack, they have 6 flavors and you'd get 2 of each. But this happened to me. There was why I got a pack that only had 5 of the flavors. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, what's going on? And they told me they were out of one of the flavors. And so you'll get 2 of 2, and then, or I guess, well, you'll get 2 of 3. 3 of the flavors you'll get 2 of, and then 2 of the flavors you'll get 3 of. So you'll still get 12, but you only get the 5 that they have in stock. So that's how that goes. They do have a chocolate fix variety 12 pack. So the dark chocolate, I think would probably be part of that, right? No. The chocolate fix variety 12 pack is the cafe mocha and almond chip, chocolate chip cookie dough, and peanut butter dark chocolate. So those 3. So you would get all 4 of those. And I would assume if you get the sweet and salty variety 12 pack, which is supposed to include the dark chocolate Himalayan salt, that you would get 6 of the other 2. That seems a little weird, though. Not sure. Maybe they have enough to fulfill what they've got for sale. But yeah, all of the 12 variety packs are $28. But again, with Preds Pro, you'll get 25% off. And then also on Cozy Earth, CozyEarth.com, and I should have checked this out, but we have a new, I think they have extended the 30% off for about a week. And I think it's up till the 18th. So normally it's 21% at CozyEarth.com, but for a limited time, it will be 30% off at CozyEarth.com. Both of these both of these promo codes are Preds Pro, and the promos are good every day of the year, not just on Bastille Day, every day of the year. So there you go. CozyEarth.com, QuantumSquares.com. Preds Pro is your promo code. Back to the Preds, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Signings. On the 28th, they did sign center Jack Drury to a 5-year, $4.5 million contract. Nice little bump from him. Before that, he was making $1.725 million a year. So almost 3 times, which is good. Good for him. He did have a 2-year contract before. Now he's got a 5-year contract. He's 26, so that's part of the younger, making the team younger. In 82 games with Colorado, he scored 10 goals and 17 assists. So, not a, a support player. That was the word I was looking for earlier. Support player. I mean, which is, you can't have all leaders, but it'd be nice to have a few more, pure goal scorers. Coming along, Drury was center Chase Bradley in that trade where we gave them Svechkov and Leroux. And on the 3rd, we did sign Bradley, who's 24 years old, to a 2-year, $875K contract. I'm assuming Chase will probably be in Milwaukee. I'm not sure we're going to see Chase in the here in Nashville during the regular season. Maybe he get called up, but most likely I think he's going to be with the Admirals. On July 4th, Independence Day, 250 years, center Maverick Bourque, the aforementioned from Dallas, 24 years old. There we go. Now I know how old he is. He signed a 6-year, $5.5 million a year contract, up from $950K. So big Big signing for him. He did get 20 goals last year in 82 games and 21 assists. So Maverick Bourque, a little bit more of a goal scorer than the other people on the team. So, we'll see how that turns out, playing with the Preds instead of Dallas. And then on the 6th, they re-signed defenseman Justin Barron. So Barron is 24. He had been making $1.15 million, now up to $1.575 million. A little bit of a bump. 1-year contract with him. So I have to take another look at him at the end of the year. As far as I already had that up. As far as other free agents, I like to look at it a different way. But so all the Group 2 restricted free agents, which I'm not exactly sure I've ever looked that up. Justin Barron and Chase Bradley, both of those were re-signed. And then with the Group 3 unrestricted free agents, Andres England is now with Calgary. He got signed by Calgary. Then we've got Kevin Gravel, defenseman Kevin Gravel, who was the captain in Milwaukee last year, and he has not been signed. I think he's 35. That's another reason why it's helpful to look at this other list I've got. 34 defenseman Kevin Gravel. And then I don't want to look here. Let's look back here. Then Eric Halla, signed by the Kings. I had a feeling they weren't going to. Interesting. I had a feeling they weren't going to re-sign him when they did the couple of trades with Ross Colton and who was we got Drew Colton and I guess Drury. Yeah, right. So, so they didn't sign him. He's well with the Kings. And then Tyson Yost is still unsigned. And then Jordan Osterley has retired. That's new. I hadn't seen that before. So good for him, I guess. Osterley. I mean, how old was he? I don't remember. I guess if he's retired, I'm gonna 34. 34. Okay. So Osterley has retired, and then that kind of takes care of everything. Unrestricted free agents didn't receive qualifying offer, so they were restricted free agents, didn't get a qualifying offer, so now they're unrestricted. Dalton Bancroft, Jack Mattier, Ryder Rolston, the three of those, I think, spent the year in Milwaukee. And I'm not sure about Bancroft, actually. Not sure about Bancroft. He might have been in Atlanta. But be that as may. And then Christopher Setoff. The thing that's interesting about Setoff is that he was acquired in the Cole Smith trade. And so we got a third-round 2028 pick for Cole Smith and then defenseman Christopher Setoff. Now, granted, it was, under the previous management, but they didn't sign him. He did play for a few games in Milwaukee, so I don't know. Ryder Rolston, if I remember correctly, he's a Notre Dame guy. Prudence went to Notre Dame, so we always pay attention to those guys. Stastny was a Notre Dame guy, so we hated seeing him getting traded. But I don't know. I don't know. They didn't sign those guys. Not exactly sure, but we'll see how things shake out. Nothing as if they don't get signed by somebody else, then they're still available, right? But as it is, the cap space for the Preds is $7.5 million now. They did have a lot of cap space, but now they've got these all these new players, and they've signed them. So there you go. Speaking of signings, the Predators did sign a couple of free agents. The consistent theme again. On the first, they did sign center Alexander Kerfoot, who was an unrestricted free agent with Utah. He's 31. Uninjured reserve most of last season, did play 34 games, 7 goals and 6 assists. He's got a 2-year, $3.5 million contract. His previous contract was $3 million, so a little bit of a bump. And then on the first, defenseman Jack Ahcan, unrestricted free agent with Colorado, who's 29, played 61 games with the Eagles last year and 11 with the Avs. So not injured last year. He was making $775K. Now he's making $875K, 2-year contract. My guess is he's going to be down in Milwaukee. And then also signed on the first, defenseman Hunter Skinner, unrestricted free agent St. Louis. He's 25 to a 1-year $850K contract, also making $775 last year. Also, 60 games last year with the Springfield Thunderbirds and 1 with St. Louis. So I think both of those defensemen probably going to wind up in Milwaukee, which is probably sealing the door on re-signing Kevin Gravel. Because we've got so many new defensemen. Osterley retired, and Jack Mattier and Christopher Setoff we didn't sign. So that gives us down in the non-roster defense: Viggo Gustafsson, Daniel Nieminen, Ryan Ufko, one of my favorite players, Andrew Gibson, Tanner Molendyk, and then Jack Ahcan, Hunter Skinner. So, maybe, I don't know. We're still looking, still looking for me a little light in the defensemen. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 on the roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it says 7, but that's because Kevin Gravel isn't signed. So we've got 7 defensemen on the Preds roster. And odd man out being Adam Wilsby. We'll see, but how all that plays out. But yeah, kind of feel a little light. We'll get to that a little bit later. When I start talking about what it looks like as far as what players we do have. Now that we've kind of gone through the signings, the trades, the draft, we've got most of what looks like to be a team, and then we can go on. And next up would be talking about how it's all going to come together. But, how does it come? Oh, yes. Okay. So here we go. The, whatever you've got, so DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series, all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, that text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
So who do we have with the Predators? Who do we have? What do we need? Before we get to that, just wanted to go through some of the players that I talked about who I thought the Preds could sign. A couple of them I was excited about the opportunity. And then remember, at this point in time, Nashville has $7.5 million in cap space. Marchessault is $5.5 million. In my opinion, they should find another route for him because I don't think he's fit in. I mean, he was playing a little bit better at the end of the season, but I don't know. I don't think the Preds can make this work. We got all these other new players, so maybe not. But anyway, so a couple of defensemen I was high on was Rasmus Andersson with Vegas, and Vegas did re-sign him. Makes sense. And then defenseman Brett Kulak with Colorado, and they re-signed him. So that was great. Center Jack Roslovic with Edmonton, somebody 21 goal scorer, 29 years old. And I think he was the guy I thought would really make a good addition, but he got signed by Toronto instead. So Edmonton didn't re-sign him. Right wing Ilya Mikheyev from Chicago got signed to Tampa Bay. I was really high, if the Preds could have figured out how to make it work to sign right wing Kyler Yamamoto with Utah. I think he's going to be a good player in the future. Utah re-signed him. They should. They should have. I guess, that was good for them. The only goaltender I saw out there was Eric Comrie with Winnipeg. Not that we're looking for goaltenders, but just, as far as people that were out there, I thought it was at least worth taking a look at the goaltenders. And since we were looking at everything else and figuring out, but he's been signed by San Jose. So the two defensemen got re-signed by the teams that they were originally with, and all of the forwards and goaltenders got signed by somebody else. The one guy who hasn't been signed and is still out there, right wing Anthony Mantha from Pittsburgh, a 33-goal scorer, which I would love to get on the team. He's 31, 64 points, so 31 assists, 33 goals, 31 assists, and he's 31. Lots of threes there. $2.5 million current contract or previous contract. He's unrestricted free agent. Rumor is he wants a long-term deal, which nobody seems to be interested in giving him. Not sure why, but that's how things go with players. And I guess they were liking it to the Marchessault trade. I guess they're both from Quebec, and Marchessault, I think, wanted a long-term deal, and other people didn't, and the Predators wound up signing him. So I guess it's still potentially the Preds could still sign Mantha. I would be excited about that. I'd be excited about it more if we hadn't signed so many other players along the way, but I guess you can always deal them now that they're signed. They might be easier to deal. Mantha not being signed, maybe not only a long-term deal, but maybe he's looking for a pretty decent bump too. The Preds, again, $7.5 million in cap space. So be a little tight. You don't want to exceed your cap because during the season, you might need to call people up and send them down. And if you go over the cap, there's issues. And I guess a lot of teams were using long-term injured reserve as a way to get around that, but you get penalized for that at the end of the season. Yeah, they were talking about, I forget which team it was, but they were like, oh, yeah, they need to call up some players. Oh, suddenly this player's on long-term injured reserve again. I think that was Edmonton, but I don't remember for sure. I did think it was kind of interesting to listen about that. So So, yeah, I think Mantha would be a good addition. 33 goal scorer last year with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh being a high-scoring team, so probably wouldn't get 33 with the Preds, but could probably get more than 20. So definitely, again, Carolina, I guess their top goal scorer had 32 last year, not 35, 32. Again, they had 7 with 20 plus, and that was in the regular season. The Preds had a 42, 40, 25, and then 17. I guess now with Bork, it's 21, but we'll see how that works out. He's the only forward that's been acquired with 20-plus goals. And then, as I mentioned, did get to shut down defenseman Lyubushkin. Didn't take a look at defensemen that are out there. And I think probably on the defensive side of things, I think the Preds are looking pretty good. Actually, good mix. Of course, Yossi at 36, Brady Skay at 32, Nick Hague at 27, Lyubushkin 32, Perbix 28, Barron 24, Wilsby 25. So, looking pretty good there. And then, as far as other players go, Ryan Ufko is 23. I guess the oldest player down here is 29, Jack Alcan. So Tanner Molendyke, 21. So, I think the Preds are in pretty good shape as far as defensemen go. I'm trying to convince myself of that. If it sounds like I'm trying to convince you, it's because I'm trying to convince me. I did really only felt, when I was doing this analysis before, I really felt like only one shutdown defenseman would be good. I think would be nice to have. And so they did get that. So then I started taking a look at, what would the lines potentially look like because we got Forsberg and Wood. You need somebody to play with that. I think probably Bork would be slotted in there. O'Reilly, Stamkos, and Evangelista were playing pretty well last year. I don't see any reason to change that. Like I said, if there's a lot of talk about O'Reilly. There's always talk about O'Reilly going somewhere. But everything I read, O'Reilly wants to stay in Nashville. He's happy being in Nashville. And, he had the most ice time last year. So if his effectiveness starts to decline, they could just reduce his ice time. And then, we still have the benefit of having an experienced player. We get his time on the ice. And he just, somebody else can take the brunt of the time on the ice. I think Forsberg was second, Forsberg 31. But yeah, so that's the talk about O'Reilly. Now, I think it was Drury. Was it Colt? Maybe Colton had played with Stamkos, but seemed like, maybe they'll try swapping up some of the lines, but it seemed like O'Reilly, Stamkos, and Evangelista did pretty well last year. So then we get to the third line, and originally, I think when I was doing this before, I had Colton on the third line, but I started taking a look at the sizes, and Colton's bigger than Drury, so that's why I swapped this up and put Drury with Hoglander and Kerfoot on the third line. And then on the fourth line, Colton, Pinchuk, and Edstrom. Pinchuk, he's 24. I think the thing about him is he's got pretty decent size. And then Edstrom. And so, no Marcia Show in there for me. Of course, I don't know where would there be a place for him? I guess it could be either Pinchuk or Edstrom. Maybe Edstrom. Pinchuk and Edstrom not being in the lineup, and then Marcia Show getting moved around a little bit, maybe on the third line. I don't think you'd have him on the fourth line. Maybe on the first line. I could be on the first line. I think he enjoyed playing with Wood. Who wouldn't? So I guess if Marcia Show was in there, he'd be on the line with Wood. Wood was centering the line with Forsberg, although not really considered to be a center. but was playing pretty well at center last year, which is why, as the center being a position that the Preds were kind of short on, was a lot of the talk, and so they did get a couple of centers, right? So Colton, Drury, centers, Bork. Was Bork a center? Bork is a center. I think everybody kind of gets listed as a center. Center right. Yeah, Bork listed as a center right wing. Stamkos has played center. I think he's played well at center. So I didn't get the discussion so much. I think it's more important to have three players that play well together as opposed to necessarily, center, left wing, right wing. But, if they're on the ice and they're playing well together and they know how to look after each other and play their positions, things work out better. So anyway, so that's kind of what I had. And then on the defensive side of things, Josi and Haig together, training camp last year, they were playing together. Haig was new, but I think that Josi and Haig played well together. Haig unfortunately got injured at the beginning of last season during training camp, and so kind of missed a little bit. So the lines were not tight at the beginning of the season. Again, the beginning of the season being a problem the last 2 years. But yeah, I think Josi and Haig on the top line, then putting Skjei on the line with Barron. Skjei, I came around on Skjei. They added Stamkos and Marchessault and Skjei, and I thought, what in the world are you doing? My biggest problem with Skjei is that $7 million contract, and I still have to say I'm still not sure. He's a $7 million player, but hey, that's what we're paying him, so that's what he is. But his anticipation seems really good if you watch him on the ice. Watch him on the ice, and he reacts to things kind of before they happen, which is fun. So if you they can't always do this on TV because the camera is where the camera is, but if you're at one of the games and Skjei is on the ice, pay attention. It's kind of interesting to watch how he looks around, and then suddenly you'll see him kind of go somewhere and break up a play or steal a puck. So it's that type of anticipation and reading the play, I think, is an art, and so maybe he is worth $7 million. And then on the third line, we get Perbix and Lyubushkin. On the third line would be where I would see that, and unless you want to put Lyubushkin with Skjei and the Barron Perbix as third line. We'll see how Wilsby shakes out. He played really tough last training camp, if I remember correctly. And so that's kind of where I've got the 7 lines. So the thing about the Preds is that next year, we've got a lot of players that are going to be unrestricted free agents or restricted free agents. It's going to be an interesting offseason next year. So maybe the Preds can shore it up. Ryan O'Reilly will be an unrestricted free agent. Ross Colton is an unrestricted free agent. Restricted free agents, Luke Evangelista, Vitaly Pinchuk, Adam Edstrom, Matthew Wood, all restricted free agents. So almost, 6 and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 6 of 14 forwards not locked up after next season. Of the 7 defensemen on the roster, 4 will be some sort of free agent. Lyubushkin and Perbix unrestricted, and Barron and Wilsby restricted free agents. So the offseason next year going to be kind of tight down here in the non-roster forwards. A lot of restricted free agents, and so yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the Preds decide to address the contracts and where they're going to be after this next season. So restricted free agents, you can always make a qualifying offer and you're good to go. Interesting circumstance where if somebody else comes in and gives an offer sheet, I think it was one of the Ducks players, big contract. The Flyers came in and offered a really big contract to this one player. And I think given where they were at, the Ducks would have gotten like 4 or 5 draft picks if they'd not matched the offer, but then they turned around and matched the offer. So that's the other part about the restricted free agent. If somebody else gives them an offer sheet, you can always counter, and then you get to keep the player. With unrestricted free agents, you lock them up or you don't. So, we'll see how that shakes out. Ryan O'Reilly, 35. I mean, you have to start wondering how many years they want to play when you're starting to get into your late 30s, and what they're willing to do. What Ovechkin just took like a pay cut to stay in Washington one more year, was making about $8.5 million. Now he's making $4 million. So maybe it was Washington that added a couple of big goal scorers. I don't remember. I saw one team added 30 plus goal scorers and thought, well, geez, it'd be nice to have somebody like that. I mean, we got a 40 and a 42. I mean, we got goal scorers, but, which unfortunately for the most time, it seemed like they kept playing Forsberg and Stamkos on the same line, which means that all the opponent has to do is shut down one line. Saw that in LA all the time. That was a big problem. And finally, you gotta figure out how to solve the problem and how to score on more than one line. And that was a big problem for the Preds 2 years ago. Couldn't figure out how to get Marchessault and Stamkos working without playing with Forsberg. I mean, then there was no other scoring. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at and what we're doing. And I guess that's about it. Yeah, the Midsummer Update. Just taking a quick look here, I don't think there's anything else new with the Predators, and which is good. It's kind of settled for now. Training camp is around the corner, and Nicholas Robertson just got a couple of things happening today. Nicholas Robertson got signed by Pittsburgh. Not a guy I was watching, and then the one trade with the Caps and Buffalo. So yeah, things are pretty quiet right now, and we'll see how things go. Again, the training camp in September, so things might start heating up again in about a month and a half, and I might have something else to talk about. So anyway, that'll do it for me today. Thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.